All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lot Life. I'm your host, Chris Davis. This is my co-host, Andrew, once again here. Andrew, how are you?
Doing great.
Wrong button.
I thought you were going to do crickets.
I wasn't going to, but then
I looked at it. You know, with my new fancy computer, I can do all that stuff, right? Did you not see it on the last video?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But I don't trust you to do the things that I want done.
Yeah, I
You're going
got
to
you.
skew it
I got
towards
you.
you.
Yeah.
That's how
I mean, I
Andrew
probably
works.
would.
Andrew does things for his benefit.
Yeah.
Chris Davis. Andrew.
Okay. Yeah, I'm throwing that thing away.
I'll keep it locked up.
When does it go off? Oh, I got you. I got you.
There were
It's
some real crickets in
Yeah,
there.
I got you.
So, yes, we're back, Andrew. It is a beautiful Saturday because I just feel positive about saying that. It's not really. I guess right now the sun's starting to come out and it's
not bad now.
nice out there, but it was a crazy Friday night. We came in this morning. I saw some dumpsters turned over, trash cans turned over, limbs and trees blown over all over the place. Did you have any power issues?
Yeah, we lost power from like 10:30 all the way till 1 o'clock. So it got very hot in the house.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Well, and it's Saturday. We were supposed to have a radio remote out here, supposed to have Big Country out. I got here this morning, got a phone call. Their whole station was off the air.
That's
I think
crazy.
now they're on standby power. They're broadcasting just in the immediate area here in Fort Smith, but unfortunately we had to cancel our radio remote because of that. We're going to have to reschedule that. So, yeah, and I didn't really see a big weather alert that this storm was coming through. I think it kind of caught everybody a little bit off guard. Nobody was really expecting this, but at least 2 or 3 of the salespeople have already called this morning already, said that they didn't have power. They're getting here, but they weren't here yet. So yeah, it was a big dust up.
Yeah, it was definitely different since I just looked at the weather for, I want to go golf Sunday. So I was like, well, let's see what the weather is. It didn't say anything about rain whatsoever or storms.
Yeah, you probably brought this on by golfing. So if I remember correctly, last weekend you wanted to golf on Sunday and we had another gully washer on Sunday. So
exactly
you're
right.
able to do that.
Maybe I'll just mention golf and maybe it'll just rain.
Anytime it's dry outside, the farmers will come and be trying to get you to go out on the course to shoot. My corn needs rain.
Yeah.
Got to save the corn.
All right, so we're going on a 10% sale like we're talking about last week.
Yes, the 10% sale is still going strong. It's been a big hit. We've extended it through the end of this month.
Correct.
Not only that, we also added in Super Duties, which is unheard of.
Yeah, it is unheard of.
We had previously excluded Super Duties from the sale just because, it's such a high dollar truck. We don't get a lot of Super Duties. People are looking for them, but it just felt like, why are we keeping those out of the list? If people want them, let's power to the people and let's let them have their Super Duties at 10% off.
Yeah, it's those. So Super Duties are expensive. So $7,000-$8,000 off on those vehicles.
Yeah.
Another thing that we wanted to go over though is kind of like car tips, like to buy.
Sure.
To purchase on car tips. Not only that, like customer experiences and buying, because me and Chris have been what we call here at the dealership miracle gift calls. So it is it's something that usually doesn't happen but has happened, and it's just it's a great event that happens for the customer because it benefits them the most.
Yeah, one of the things that we see so much is people come in here and they're making a payment that they don't really like. They don't really understand the negative equity. Until you've experienced negative equity, a lot of people don't really understand it. But what happens is whenever you buy a vehicle, you buy it for a certain amount of money, and then like a new vehicle, the instant it turns into a used vehicle, it depreciates. All automobiles are depreciating assets. Say that 3 times fast. But anyway, so the minute you buy one, then it starts losing value. The older it gets, the more miles that are on it, it loses value. Whenever the COVID times were here, the values were at an all-time high. But as soon as that cleared out, the values crashed a little bit and you lost a lot of value in your vehicle rapidly.
Correct.
But that means, so if you bought this vehicle, let's say for $30,000, and then a year later it's worth $20,000, then you would have $10,000 of negative equity. That doesn't just go away. That has to get added on whenever you want to trade in. Banks will only loan a certain amount of value for a vehicle. So a lot of times if you want to come in, people come in and say they have negative equity and they want to actually lower their payment. Rates are higher than they probably were whenever you bought your car. That's one thing that's going against you. Also, the value of your car, if you have negative equity, that goes against you. That has to get added onto it. So you have to have a vehicle of at least similar value or higher value to be able to add that negative equity onto it. So if you're borrowing more money at a higher rate to get a lower payment, that math just isn't there.
Yeah, the banks, they're just not going to loan you the. If you have $10,000 in negative equity, you can't. I know it would make sense that if you want to lower your payment, if you have $10,000 in negative equity and you know that you have negative equity, it would just make sense to go to a $15,000 car and then, go to a $25,000 and then be financing $25,000 to lower your $800 payment, whatever you have. But then again, like you just said, with banks don't want to do that because they're giving a loan to someone that has, say, the value of that car is $15,000, and they're like, that's how much that car is worth. That's how much we'll loan you, and you're trying to tack on $10,000 above that. I mean, that just causes problems all around. But yeah, so those miracle instance. For one, how do you attack negative equity? What is the best way to attack negative equity? We'll go ahead and get a car tip on that one.
Yeah, the best way to probably do that is, unfortunately, I know you want to buy a cheaper car. That won't work. You're going to have to buy a car that costs a little bit more. So the easiest way to do that is to go after a new vehicle, because new vehicles are going to have rebates in a lot of cases.
Yep.
Plus, manufacturers, like we are a Ford dealership, so we want to sell new Fords. Ford, the manufacturer, incentivizes us to sell new vehicles. They want us to sell that because they've got these vehicles at their holding area. They want to move out to dealerships. They want to get them to us as fast as possible. They want us to move them as quickly as we can. So therefore, we can sell them cheaper, make less money. In some cases, like this 10% sale, in some cases we actually are losing money to sell these vehicles just to move as many new vehicles as we can. So Ford will then incentivize us to do more of that, and they will reward us for doing that. So a new vehicle is usually your best bet to get rid of a lot of negative equity.
And if you don't want to do that and you don't want to go up more in payments, I guess you would say that, but you could always attack it by just paying a little bit more a month on your vehicle. So if you have a $300 payment, start paying $500 to $600 a month instead of paying just $300, and you'll attack that negative equity that way too. But you're going up in payment either way, so if you're going to go up in payment, might as well get you a new car.
Yeah, well, in the new car too, a lot of times people are wanting to get rid of their car because they're having issues with the car, or the other reason is they bought this car at some point whenever their credit was a little challenged. They had a pretty high rate, so they made payments on time. They're wanting to see, and again, they want to lower that payment and get into something. This car's getting older, they want to get into something else. That's another reason the new cars work so well. A couple of the calls we've got over the last month that we've really been able to help people. I mean, in some cases, people almost cried because we're able to do this. We're not being cheesy. We're not trying to be, silly about this, but it's a pretty touchy moment when you can do that. But the reason is because on the new vehicles, to move them, Ford has offered, and other manufacturers do this as well, they offer a Savinged rate, which means that it's a rate below what the prime rate is for people. On used cars right now, if somebody that has, let's say, middle of the road credit, you can probably expect somewhere around, a 12 to 15, 16% rate like that. Yep. You could come in. For the example on this lady, she bought a new Escape.
Yes, she
got, because she made good payment history. That's something that the banks look at, especially Ford, good payment history. She came in, got this vehicle. She was a mid-level credit, I believe. Got this vehicle, but at a 2.9% interest rate.
Yeah, she did.
2.9%. She went from, I believe, 15 or 16% to 2.9%. So you can add negative equity onto a vehicle. If you can cut your rate that much by going new, then you actually, did we lower her payment?
She also carried $9,000 over in negative equity. And she went from an $800 payment from her current car to a $549 a month. So she actually lowered her payment, carried over negative equity, and got her a brand new car. So all around, that is crazy.
I don't know if you could actually qualify that as a miracle, but I bet she would.
that she went from a 17% interest rate to a 2.9.
Yeah.
And carrying that $9,000 negative equity and going to a lower payment from $300. I mean, if you don't call that a miracle, I don't know what to do.
I mean, but that was her situation. Wasn't unlike a lot of situations that we see.
No.
So, and again, that's where if you'll just come in, tell us what you're trying to do. Let us know. Give us the details. Let us see what we can do. That's what I mean. It makes us feel good doing that. We enjoy that.
You know, and it was kind of funny of the ordeal out there. It was she said, you know, she's a car person. She don't want an SUV. And I told her about the SUV, about the Escape. I said, no, this isn't SUV. And I told her all the stuff. She said, for all that, I'm an SUV person.
There you go.
I mean, it changes ways the thing too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just happened. So it may be not the car exactly that you came in on, but
it's brand new.
It's brand new.
It has warranty. You're not going to have to worry about it. It gets good gas mileage.
Yes.
It will get you from point A to point B.
And it'll probably put you in a really good position.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and that was one of the cases that we did. I think we did that 2 or 3 times over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I had one. We just done another one Saturday. She traded in. I think she only had about $4,000 in negative equity, and her credit was challenging. I will say that, but she ended up getting an Savine rate at 4.9 for 4, and then also. She kept her payment right where she was paying, but the difference is that she just bought a car with 2.9 miles when her car had 164,000 miles.
164,000 miles.
Yeah.
And Andrew, how much more life does a vehicle with 164,000 miles have in it?
Depends on
would you say it has weeks left, or would you call it more like days?
Yeah, I would say more closely to days.
Yeah.
Depends on also how you take care of your vehicle. This one was not the greatest in the greatest condition. It had a lot of problems with it, but
that's why we will say, I mean, and again, you could have a vehicle that has high miles like that, 100,000 miles, 120,000 miles. It might be running great. We run into this all the time. We'll trade for a vehicle. I'll go out there and drive that vehicle. You know, I go through a test drive on it. I check the air conditioner, look at the tires, listen to the engine, all this stuff. I mean, man, this car is a solid car. We're going to trade this in. We can actually run this through people that, again, are looking for a low payment or credit challenge. It's going to be a great trade-in. We trade that thing in, pass through the shop, no problems with the shop. Those people go drive it. 2 weeks later, I get the phone call. Chris, I was driving in this car, and I just looked back, and my transmission is in the road behind me. For some reason, I mean, it can be perfect, but once it gets older like that, you don't know sometimes. There's no warning sign. All of a sudden, it's like the air conditioner works on Tuesday. Wednesday morning, the air conditioner is out. That's $3,000 to $4,000. It can be driving fine and shifting fine on Friday. You get up Saturday morning, and it's like,
but, I mean, you gotta
transmission is gone.
You got to think, they've been on the road. Those vehicles that have 160,000 miles, 150,000 miles, man, there's bolts and screws and everything like that inside this vehicle, and it's constantly on the road. It's vibrating. Some stuff comes loose.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just, I mean, sometimes they last, but it's never going to give you a warning sign usually.
Correct.
It can be the perfect car one day, and it can be a pile of junk.
I mean, we've had tons of cars come in here that are just look great, and they have 120, 130,000 miles, and they just look great, been taken care of and everything like that.
But almost every one of them, within 3 months to 6 months, whenever we sell those, there ends up being some type of issue. So it's just, I mean, you don't know when, you don't know if it's going to happen, but chances are it is going to happen at some point.
And that's why you, on a tip, go ahead and get a warranty if you're going to buy high mileage cars like that.
But so if you do have a chance to get out of a vehicle like that with high miles, right now is a perfect time. These Escapes at 2.9%, you just can't beat that with the rates where they are. If you're thinking about buying something used, consider long and hard about going to something new, because right now more of your dollars will go towards what you want them to go towards whenever you buy something new and get a 2.9% versus 10 to 12% on something used. And if you do have credit challenging issues and you're buying something used, I mean, you could pay 17, 18, I mean, in some cases 20%. I mean, it's just, it hurts our heart to put somebody in a 20% vehicle or payment whenever they could get a 2.9%.
I've seen a lot that a lot of people don't know what their credit is exactly. So if you're one of those people that don't know exactly what your credit is, you can always find out. But we've had people that go in there and they're like, man, last time I checked, I was at this credit score, and they just be way higher than what they thought, and end up being able to just get what they want.
And right now, Ford they're producing a lot of vehicles. They want to move it, so they are buying deep. They are purchasing people that a year ago, 2 years ago, whenever I looked at this credit and was trying to get it, they tier these things: a 0 tier, 1, 2, 3, all the way down to a 4 or 5 tier, with those being the lower credit scores. But people that I would swear would be a tier 4, whenever I look at their score and their credit, they're getting tier 2s. Tier 2s is just as good as a tier 0 or a tier 1. So if you can get to a tier 2, that's 2.9. That's prime rates. You cannot beat that. Don't miss out on this chance. Come in while we have these rates. Plus, we're doing 10% off. So you're getting these special rates, or you can get the 10% off. Just the things you can do right now for a new vehicle. It's just you haven't had this kind of opportunity in a long time to get vehicles this cheap or rates this low.
That is true. But yeah, guys, I don't want to keep y'all too long because it is.
And we have mugs.
And
don't forget.
We have a lot of these, so we need to get rid of them.
Randall Ford cup of tea. We want to be your cup of tea. Come in, anybody that sees this. We are giving these away just to thank everybody. No purchase necessary. Just stop by the dealership and say Randall Ford is your cup of tea, and we will give you a free Randall Ford mug.
And we got a lot of them too. But guys, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube. Link is above. Go ahead and hit that like and share button at the very bottom. It's super easy, but just do it. Just do it. Yeah, subscribe, like, share, and get us out there. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.